Hi 7th graders, I hope you've been doing well. Today we are going to talk about 1.6, which is all about exponents. So go ahead and take a second and fill out your topic, which is exponents, and your learning target, which is I can simplify numerical expressions using exponents. Alright, so what are exponents? I hope this is a review for you. We need to label our base and our power. So our base is this 4. And then our power, or our exponent, is the 3. So you can write either one. Alright, and I also hope this is a review for you. We are going to talk about expanded form. So what expanded form is when I see 4 to the 3rd power, that's telling me I'm taking 4 times 4 times 4. Okay? Now, standard form is where I actually solve this problem and figure out what it is as a whole number. So 4 times 4 I know is 16. So 16 times 4, if you don't know, go ahead and solve it. But if you do, it should be 64. Okay? So I hope that's a review from last year, but if not, it will be a good refresher. Okay, let's look at number 1. It's asking us to simplify by writing in exponential form. So let's start with number 1. Exponential form is this, okay? So my base is going to be the number I'm taking times each other, which is 5. Count how many 5s I'm multiplying by each other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So my answer is simply 5 to the 7th power. Alright, number 2. -4 times -4 times -4. It is very important that I have a -4 in parentheses. So when I'm writing in exponential form, I also need to write it in parentheses. And I'm multiplying it times itself 3 times. Okay, number 3. Ooh, I see some 8s and some P's. So we're going to start with our 8s. 8 is my base. How many 8s am I multiplying? I'm multiplying 4. Times, now let's look at our P's. How many P's am I multiplying? I'm multiplying 3. So 8 to the 4th times P to the 3rd. Alright, number 4. Same thing. I see 5s and I see X's. I'm going to start with my 5s. I have 3 5s times each other. And then I have 2 X's. So times X squared. Alright? Let's look at this next section. It's wanting us to simplify by writing in standard form. So remember, standard form is where we write it just as a whole number. So it always helps me to write it out in expanded form. So I'm taking 9 squared. So I'm taking 9 times 9, which is 81. Please don't do 9 times 2, which is 18. That is not the same thing. Please do not do that. That is wrong. Okay? I'm taking 9 times 9, not 9 times 2. Alright, let's look at number 2. 3 to the 4th. So 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 3 over here is also 9. 9 times 9 is 81. So 3 to the 4th is 81. Let's look at number 3. 6 to the 1 power. So what that's saying is I'm taking 6 times 1, which is 6. Sounds pretty easy. And then our last one. 8 to the 0 power. Anything to the 0 power is simply 0. Okay? If this was 395 to the 0 power, my answer would also be 0. Oops, I totally told you that wrong. I'm so sorry. I hope you caught my mistake. Anything to the 0 power is 1. I'm so sorry. Okay? Anything to the 0 power is 1. So if I had 493 to the 0 power, my answer would simply be 1. I'm so sorry. Alright, so now we are going to look at some exponents with negative bases. Alright, so this is where you're going to want to pay attention. I hope everything above was review. This is the new stuff. So I am taking -7 squared. So do you notice how there's parentheses? So what that means is I'm taking -7 times -7. And we know from our last lesson that a negative times a negative gives us a positive. So I'm taking 7 times 7, which is 49. Okay? Now our next example will show us how those parentheses signs are so important. So now if I look at this one, I don't see any parentheses. So what this means is I'm taking a -1 times 7 squared. So times 7 times 7. Okay? -1 times 7, negative times a positive equals a negative. So this is -7 times 7. So again, a negative times a positive equals a negative. So my answer here is -49, which is the opposite of this one right here. Okay, so this negative sign out in front is telling me I'm taking that negative sign times my exponents. Whereas the parenthesis sign was telling me I'm taking the -7 times the -7. So I get different answers. So it's super important to remember that. So now let's look at number 3. I see that parenthesis sign, so that tells me I'm doing -2 times -2 times -2. So again, a negative times a negative gives me a positive. So -2 times -2 is 4 times -2. A positive times a negative gives me a negative answer. So 4 times 2 is 8, but it is a -8. Okay? Let's look at 4. Ooh, I don't see any parentheses, but I have that negative sign. So what that's telling me is I'm taking a -1 times 2 times 2 times 2. Okay? So -1 times a positive 2. A negative times a positive gives me a negative as an answer. So -1 times 2 is -2. And then over here, a positive 2 times a positive 2 gives me a positive 4. And again, a negative times a positive gives me a negative answer. 2 times 4 is 8. So if you notice, in this example, both of these were the same. The only reason that is because of this right here. This 3 is odd. If that would have been a 4, then this would have given you a positive answer, and this still would have given you a negative answer. Okay? So it's very important that you write out your problems just like I did, especially with that negative sign. Alright, so right now you have 3 IXLs to do. The first 2 should be fairly simple. This last one will be all about this part with the negative bases. So go ahead and do your best. Remember, your goal is 70. If you have questions, please let me know. Otherwise, have a good day, 7th grade.